Hello, hello, hello. Hello, Zephyr. Good morning. Nice to see you here. I didn't have... Oh. I just have to do this work, and so I just was keeping quiet. But glad to see some folks around. So, hello, good morning. So we are live both on Facebook and on YouTube. And we are working on a Nikke. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. We're working on a Nikke mission. So right now we're clothing. Turn down the music. Okay. I forgot because I was just streaming quietly. There you go. So I just did. I just turned down the music. How about now? It's at minus 562 decibels. I don't know if that's working. Let me know. Please let me know if that's working. Alright. Please let me know if the music has been turned down. We are working on a Nikke mission. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but yes, this is the piece. So right now I'm trying to figure out how to do some pinching in the clothing to make it look realistic. Music is off. It's off. Damn, okay. Maybe it's too low. Let's bring a little bit of it back. Go. I think this is looking pretty good. So I'm quite happy with this side, but I'm not too happy with this side. I'm trying to look at references. Not sure what the right term is for this kind of clothing. So fabric. Fabric is always tricky, but once you get it right, that's the beauty of it. So the thing is, the pinch should happen here at the top. And I guess it should also have some effects here as well. But we don't want to overdo it because this is supposed to be what do you call that? This is supposed to be a tight material, and it's just doing this because it's, well, she's in a specific position. I think this should bundle up right here. Yes. So it's easy to simply copy, but we're not copying right now. And I think the closest we could approach this with is a tucked shirt. Yes, a tucked shirt. I think that is the closest thing we could work with. And so we must... well, it pays the bills. That's one. And number two, I try my best to still have it tasteful as much as possible. I don't know if I always accomplish it. I see. So that's how we do it, huh? That's how we do it. So let's turn that off. Yeah, this is looking pretty good. Yes. I like the way I am interpreting the folds. So the thing with clothing is you have to be aware when to add straight lines and when to add curves, or else you're gonna make it look stiff, which I think is something that someone is desiring to learn from me. So if this be of any help right away while I'm working on this, it's something that I could speak about. So if anybody is curious to know how to craft such illustrations and to understand how the physics of clothing works, I think I could say that I have a pretty good grasp at it. There's still much that I'm learning, but I think I'm at a point where I'm far more skilled than most when it comes to approaching these matters. And this is not in an attempt to brag. Maybe it is, like, from other people's perspectives. And also, there are no references right now except for a man's shirt. So I'm not copying anything per se. I'm transposing concepts is what I'm doing. Which is honestly a little trickier than just simply finding an image that works and then copying that. It requires less brain power, yes. It speeds up the process, most definitely. But there is just a charm, and it feels like a Dark Souls boss when you try to re-engineer something from the ground up without fully understanding how it works, and then slowly you realize that, oh shit, I've got it, it clicks, I understand now. What's that meme? I understand it now. Something like that. So here, this is how it looks. I think I'm pretty satisfied with the amount. Not too much. Again, this is supposed to be tight clothing. It also hooks on some parts of her body. So that's something that we have to take into consideration. Because in all of the references that I seem to find, there is this back effect that's taking place. So here, we must locate the center, which is around here. Then from there, we generate a line. Wow, generate. I'm so AI. We generate a line that proceeds to engulf the back. Not really engulf. To showcase the contour of the back. There you go. There you go. Alright, I'm pretty happy with how that is turning out. I just received some notifications. I don't know from where, so I'm just gonna have to check maybe my email. Nope. Facebook. Did we check Facebook? Nope. Nothing on Facebook. Instagram. I think I got some notifications here, but that's from 4 hours ago. Let's check Reddit. Nothing from Reddit. X. Nah, okay. Alright, so where did that notification come from? Anyways. Nope. Too much. Too much. Too much. We don't want it too much. Yes, there you go. Alright, so we got the stretch correct. There seems to be a symbol at the back, but I can't read it because of the hair. I'm looking at the original anime reference right now, and I can't seem to distinguish it. So for now, we're just going to have to connect the bodysuit. And for reference here, she is wearing tights, okay? So as beautiful as that butt is, she is still wearing tights. So, I mean, she took off her shoes, so there's that as well. I don't know if that's making sense. Mart just had that a moment where it clicked for him when practicing rhythm and gesture flow. I'm happy to know. I'm happy to hear that. I don't know if this advice has been given to Mart, if you've provided this to him, but one thing that I could deeply recommend is to try out the poses in real life. And I'm not even joking about this. There is a huge benefit when you try to act out the poses that you want to copy. Especially for Mert's level, where he hasn't really fully understood yet how things work. So you have to put yourself in those shoes and try to get in the mindset of, hey, how does this exactly work? And I think Mert should also not just, what do you call that? Not just strike a pose, but instead to film himself move. And for studying figure drawings, I know that it's much more difficult because, what do you call that? Because I was gonna recommend looking up films to do the studies, but that's the thing. Films often have a lot of clothing. So you're not going to be able to see the body a whole lot, which can be tricky. So what I can really recommend is to do the action yourself. Film it, try to see how your body weight is shifting, which parts naturally straighten out, which parts naturally curve. Because even though we do have a skeleton, I forgot where I found it, but what do you call that? I forgot what I'm running out of words here. Uh, However you operate. So when, what was I trying to say? Right, so we don't just have a skeleton, we also have muscles. And so muscles pull. They contract so that your body moves to a certain degree. And you could imagine it as each muscle having their own pressure, right? So let's say if I lift my arm to, I'm gonna look at myself if I could see myself. So if you lift your arm, let's say to your head, it's not working at full 100% capacity every single time, because that would be just completely robotic. When you move, some muscles are triggered maybe to a 20% level, some are triggered to a 15%, and so there's a ratio, there's a calculation, but you don't want to think in calculations, because when you do, you start to become more robotic. And so I think the closest thing that you can do, and the approximation to this is the mathematical curves, is to operate in that kind of domain. When you look at body parts and when you look at poses, let's say for example, my arm here versus my arm here. So as I'm doing this, you could say that there's a certain tension when it's a little more, there's a relaxation when things are a little more curved, more rotated. There's more tension when you lock yourself, right? And so when you're doing poses, especially if it's relaxed, try to add more curves there, because it's more loose. The more loose it is, the more curves there are. And then the moment a body part engages, then you kind of increase the level a little bit. And this is where you think mostly in curves and less in body parts. The body parts are just there as a guide. But if you want to really understand movement, you have to let go of those muscles, of those bones for a short bit. Only then do you bring it back after. That's the, I think, the most important thing. I don't know. I hope that I'm making sense. So yeah, so in case that piece of wisdom, I hope that it's wisdom, hasn't been passed over to Mert, then that's something that hopefully will help. Because that's surely helped me a lot. I have old selfies of myself just doing poses. They're not the most elegant, they're not the most handsome or good to look at. But yeah, I've done a couple just so that I could full damn understand what the hell it is that I'm doing. And that's why I also rewatch films so much, to an autistic level, to a crazy, stupid level. Not just because I enjoy them, I do, but more than that, it's also the case that I rewatch them, I pause to a certain part that I find interesting to draw, I play it, that short clip of whatever it is, let's say pulling out a gun, and then I pause it, and then I scroll through it frame by frame. And so you get to see, especially if it's maybe like an Arnold Schwarzenegger film, or maybe Rain from Ninja Assassin. So you see these physiques take form, take action, and as they're doing so, you could pretty much see which muscles activate by how much they bulge. And you could now apply the curve approach, the curve theory that I provided, where if it's more relaxed, there's more curvature to it, especially if it's active relaxation, versus when it's just dead. Because when it's dead, the only reason our body parts are straight when we're dead is because of gravity. But if we stiffen as well, because of the shock that enters our system. How do I know this? Because I've seen a lot of real deaths, let's just say. And so I know the difference between being pulled by gravity, and so uh oh my god, there's just a whole lot of there's a lot of concepts when it comes to this. I think the problem with my style of teaching, which I'm trying to adjust and to improve on, is that I feel like my mind operates on multi-dimensional aspects. I'm not saying that this is the best thing. Yes, Ninja Assassin is amazing. It's truly one of the best pieces of action cinema there is. You could say a lot about the plot, but I just rewatched not rewatched. I just watched a video essay on why plot doesn't always matter. And I think that Ninja Assassin falls in that category. You go and boot up the film not because you watch the plot. The plot is just more than enough to convey who this character is, why he's going through what he's going. Then that's it. You get on the ride, you run the playground, you run the gauntlet, and you see him kill people. And as he's killing people, if you're an artist, and I hope that the people watching learn some things about this, but as you're watching, pause it, play it, pause it again, go through it frame by frame. And as you're doing that, you could choose one specific pose. But as you're drawing that pose, you're keeping in mind the motion that allowed for that pose to happen, right? And so you scrub through the footage. You see a frame that you love, for example, Rain tossing a shuriken. Do you draw him mid-draw of the shuriken? Or do you draw him when he's already released the shuriken? Which one do you find most striking? And from there, you prepare the illustration, you express the parts that explode, the parts that straighten. And again, try to focus on the ones where the human body is in action, where there are no clothing involved. Because if you add the clothing into the computation that you're doing in your head, depends on your approach. Sometimes it would help better, other times not really. Because if you don't understand how clothing works and how pinching in clothing works, for example here, when I raise my arms like this, where are the pinch parts? The pinch parts are here on my shoulders, right? And as it does this, the rest of my clothing lifts. And then the curves appear in between those pinch points. Like John Wick, we're not there for the plot. Cool, he's mad because his dog got killed. That's all the plot we need. They made it into 5 movies and we still remember the dog getting... Exactly. So John Wick, I think, especially the first one, is quite knowledgeable in engaging the audience on some character drama during the first, 15 minutes? And then, the moment we've got an investment with that character drama and they hit us in the feels, they took that emotion and then channeled it through an earthquake, and then whatever tsunami of emotion followed after that, they just wrote it. They wrote it, and whatever waves exploded from that, they applied action to it. And yeah, that's just a dialogue on cinema. But I think that also when you're drawing, whatever it is that you're drawing, for example, I'm drawing this I don't really know her. I know that her character is Nayuta, just after Googling it. I know that she's from Nikke. I don't play Nikke, but my friend and client does. And so even though I don't play these games, or if what do you call it? Whatever piece that you're drawing, let's say the Predator, or let's say Iron Man, whatever piece it is that you're drawing, try to put yourself in the mindset of that character. And that's why sometimes I know some artists who make sounds as they draw. Shoo, shoo. Children do that. Kids do that. Sometimes I still do that. It's immersing yourself into the craft. you're immersing yourself into the image. And I'm no lady, but as I was drawing this, I literally thought of what it feels like to crawl, to put yourself in this position. And for those who had seen my previous streams, you would notice that I was preparing sketches for this, and I must admit that not all of the sketches were up to my standards. Why? Because as I was preparing the sketches, I realized that I was operating mostly with the concept of boxes. Here, I have it. Here, there you go. Notice how this first one is so damn fucking rigid, right? Like, you could tell that it's the same pose, but why does it feel so stuck? It's like, help brother, help step brother, I'm stuck. That's exactly what this feels like, just without the washing machine. And then here we have an overextended head. It doesn't make sense because I overstretched the head. So I'm starting to get the components right, but then I overstretch in one direction, and after I stretch it, the skin doesn't do anything. And so I'm thinking in boxes still. And then when I did this, I think I overdid it, and there's no proper bend to the spine, so that's something else that I had to consider. So here, I got the muscles working, but I forgot about the bones. Do you see what I'm trying to say? So if Mert isn't watching right now, maybe link this part to him. I hope that this does some help to him down the line. And so here, this is the next part which I did, in which I pretty much just circled back to my first version and my third version combined. So I was not happy at all with this. How I figured it out is by drawing a pose that I was more familiar with, which is a woman sitting down with her back tightened. So the scapula tightens here. I didn't need to draw the scapula. All I had to do was tighten the line here, and then widen it up here to show that there's a different kind of relaxation and engagement, because the back muscles start to happen here, right? The lower back. I'm more familiar with this pose, so this is what I drew first. I understood this pose better. After which, that's when I started to make the changes, because I realized that the arms are pretty much in the same position. It's this that follows that changes. Once I understood that, well, drafting this just became easier. So to take it into application for Mert or for other artists who are having trouble with this rhythm or flow, is try to draw a pose first that you understand. And when you draw this pose, it can be as stiff as possible, if the pose is stiff, or try to focus on the most explosive pose possible, right? Why? Because I think you'll be able to see your errors better versus a relaxed, subtle pose. Relaxed, subtle poses are far more difficult to do. A proper contrapposto pose, like the Greek sculpture pose, where a person leans on their weight, on one side of their weight, that is far more difficult to do, because you are now thinking as a whole, and one muscle affects everything else. But when you do a punch, sure, there's still that one muscle affecting everything else, but a few are more engaged than most. So you could just simply focus on those muscles, and I think you'll be able to get the job done far quicker. And you'll get practicing, and you'll be able to understand that specific pose. And then from there, slowly approach the other poses from that knowledge that you've gained. So drawing is really difficult. It's time intensive. But I truly believe that if it's approached in the right way with the right conditions, I think it will be possible. It's 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 just a matter of time and being blunt with yourself. Excuse me, I was supposed to use the word brutal, but uh, I'm trying not to apply that kind of mindset to myself anymore, especially. I can be quite brutal with myself. It's helped me grow, but at the same time, I think that now we're heading into emotional territory here. But it can be self-deprecating, and it can be difficult to get out of. Let's just say. So I don't know if that helped. If you're still watching, Rick, please let me know if there was some value to be found in the things that I just said. Or to anyone else there who is watching. If you're an artist, say hello. If you're not an artist, please say hello as well. I'm happy to have some viewers here. Originally, I really just wanted to boot up the stream and just, well, I do it for posterity, really. I do this because I stream because recording these eats up a lot of memory, truly. And I thought to myself, why not use... Oh, thank you. So I thought to myself, why... Hello. We were just talking about you, John Wick. Just a matter of time, I suppose. We said his name and he appeared. He most definitely did. Oh my god, he most definitely did. Excuse me. Oh damn, I still have the sketch here. Yeah, here you go. Here's the original sketch before I started to work on the lines. So yeah, let's flip this. Let's put this here instead, and then let's remove these and this too. So in this manner, we could cover stuff up. So for this one, we should remove this because there's clothing. So trust me, this is going to be a little more demure than how it currently appears. I hate this part right here. I hate this part right here. I just can't take those tears. I hate this part right here. I can't take it any longer. Thought that we were stronger, slipping through my fingers. Who sang that again? The fuck? Tell you I hate this part right here. Alright. Very good. So now we must erase the clothing underneath the hair. So this is all about masking, and that's another thing that not everyone will agree with this style, especially during production, because it is time consuming. And I'm aware that not all artists will be into that, or let's just say that not all editors will be into that. I understand that, and that's something that I'm trying to figure out how to improve on. And that's another reason that I've been drawing a lot more, because, well, this is my job, and I think it's a crime if I don't draw. I feel like it's an injustice. It's an injustice that this is the path that I chose. This is the life that I wanted growing up. And whatever challenges that it has, I think it's just damned right that I live up to it. And that I don't waste the opportunity that not a lot of people have, which is to create, which is to draw, which is to, yeah, just make things of hopefully of value, if not to myself, then to somebody else. Because I think that is the point of this, or at least one of the most important things that we could gather. It's not an easy life. I don't think there is an easy life. The moment you take something seriously, well, the more you realize how difficult it can be. And I think that's just on par for the course. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, if things are getting a little too easy, well, I think that something wrong is happening. Because it's not that I want things always to be difficult, but I think that maybe something could be better, you know? Or stagnation is starting to happen. Or maybe that's just my broken system speaking for me. I don't know. I think I've gotten the drawing to a point where I could start shading. Yes, because this piece is supposed to be a, what do you call that? A I'm running out of words. What the hell? Whoopsie daisy. It's either I say whoopsie daisy or butterfingers. I think it's because of Dr. Octopus. I hate this part right here. I just can't take those tears. I can't take it any longer. Thought that we were strong. Alright, time to shade this. But before we do, I think it's best if we make some selections now. So, let's clean up this a little bit. I think some lines are just going completely mad. And it's good to have a, well, I'd say that's pretty good. And I think that we could now blend all of the line work together. Yes, most certainly. There you go. Merge that. Merge that. There you go. All right. And let's give it some color. Just for reference. And then I think that we can start separation of church and state. To here, we're gonna do the hair first. Oops. Whoops. This is gonna be a little bit tedious, but we'll still do it anyway, because we have to. There's no shortcut to this. That's something that I've realized. It's like flat. Well, this technically leads to flats. What do I mean by flats? It's the term used in comic book creation. For those who are not aware, where you take line work which does not have colors, and before it gets even shaded, you isolate the various materials using color coordination. And that's exactly what we're doing here right now. It just so happens that we don't need to color this. Because that is not the package that was selected. So whenever we make a selection, we have to remember that after we do this, we always feather our selection, or at least that's what I do. I've watched Leon Hughes' process. He never does. He just simply goes for the selection right away. And so sometimes you get these rough cuts. It works for his technique, and who am I to speak against that? All I'm saying is that with a style that I've come to find, softening the edges has the best results for me. And maybe it will do the same for someone out there who gets to watch or is watching this this stream right now. Almost there. Yeah, this is really a little time consuming, but yes, it's James McTeague. That's why the styles are quite similar. I forgot what he did for The Matrix. I think he was a screenwriter. But he did assist the Wachowskis in crafting The Matrix. And I think that the Wachowskis wanted to direct V for Vendetta, but it was because of scheduling conflicts, and I think they also wanted to pass the reins to give James McTeague a chance at directing. That's why James McTeague got the job. And I love V for Vendetta, with the fact that I rewatch it every year. But I also have to admit that maybe it could have been better in the hands of the Wachowskis. And I'm coming from the perspective of cinematography for one. Because I think that, well, I think the product speaks for itself. The Matrix looks far better than V for Vendetta. There you go. We have the hair selected. There you go. What is her hair color again? It's blue. No, it's what is this? It's white? Yes. When I was a kid, I always thought that it was the Wachowskis who directed it. Because I just saw the name from the creators of The Matrix, and so I was like, oh, it was made by them as well. It was written by them. So I guess it was kind of made by them as well. And I thought growing up that producers were doing the director job, but I was gravely mistaken about that. Producers do hold a lot of weight with decisions, but I would say that it's still the directors who pretty much bring everything to life. At least that's my perspective on things. And I'm aware that there are directors who could be more combative with what they want, thus resulting in products that are closer to what they want. So I think there's a certain sense of pinkiness. Anyways, we're not going to be coloring this. Or... So there you go. That's good. And then... Oh yes, for the black spots. So for the legs, I think we could just... So the entire back, I see. Okay. Here. Here. Here too. I hitherto. Here as well. That too. Oops, my god. Oh my goodness gracious. Nah, I think we should leave that as is. Oops. Oh yeah. Yeah. So I think it's better this way. Whoopsie daisy. Butterfingers. There you go. One more here. There you go. And one more here. Okay, that is quite smooth. There you go. And ta-da-da. 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 Ta-da. I wonder what Avengers would have looked like if it wasn't shot like a TV show. I'm jumping back to Ninja Assassin. Gotta finish it for bedtime. Ah, no worries. Thanks, man. Thank you. Thank you. All right, I think I'll go back to mute again until someone says hi. So, yeah. Thanks, guys. Alright, I gotta prep some food. Maybe I'll go back to streaming again later tonight. It's currently 11:23 a.m. back here where I am, and yeah, I'm pretty satisfied with where this is right now. So, we have the lighting set up, we have the parts selected. All that's left is to begin to shade, and so that's what the next stream will potentially be about, unless I jump to a different illustration and just have fun with that, because I've been trying to have some fun again with my drawings, because sometimes when drawing becomes your work, the fun that you had when it was just a hobby, well, it sometimes disappears, and it's a bit tricky. Yeah, it's a bit tricky. But yeah, so I'm sorry about the quick noise of the mic there. Yeah, I think this is a good spot to end with. I'm quite satisfied with how this is, and so yeah, I think I'll be ending the stream here. Thank you so much to everybody who watched. See you guys around.